You can now see him on YouTube, and you can see him on Twitter. He's the lefty Cole Irvin here on A's Cast Live. How are you?
Great. What's up, A's fans? Live on YouTube.
You like how we're stepping our game up?
I love this.
We're multimedia just for you.
I love this because now they're going to see me dance while we're on YouTube, and the music's going on behind me. It's a lot of ugly things that are going to happen now.
But you were trying to get clicks, so keep doing whatever you're doing. We have a problem with you, and I hate to say it. And I don't want to start out negative because, I want to be positive.
Well, as long as we end with a positive, we'll be all right.
But we have a major negative, kind of a bone to pick with you.
Okay, all right.
You're only the 12th fastest pitcher in baseball. You're not top 10.
Well, it's these dang hitters that take their time in their batting routines that I think is the problem. I don't think it's me because I'm standing there ready.
When I saw Shane Bieber was number one, and it wasn't you.
He works fast. He's been working fast since college.
But you're Johnny Fast. I thought you'd at least be top five.
My counter, I think, has to be with runners on first, and I hold. I vary my holds. I vary my speed and timing because the runner's right in front of me. So I think that's kind of where my
right-hander's just going. He didn't hold it. Do right-hand pitchers even hold people anymore?
I don't even know. I don't think so.
I don't think they pay attention.
I don't think so. With our catchers, there's no reason to. We got arms behind the plate, so with Betancourt and Murph, they're going to throw guys out no matter how fast you
got to kind of, with Betancourt back there, you got to watch your lips with that ball coming back fast. Wow.
Yeah. He takes great BP too, on top of not only having a great throwing arm, but 100%. We got two of the best arms in the league, behind the dish. So base runners it's going to be interesting to see how many guys steal on us this year.
When the notes came out that StatCast had this pitch tempo deal, I immediately thought of you, and I thought, I love this. Now we're going to really know who's a sloth out there and who are the guys that when you pitch fast, your defense loves it. We were talking to Kevin Smith about that, going, you're on, hey, ball's coming, you got to be ready. You're ready to play versus sitting there. And we actually did a timer on what 30 seconds is like, just to sit here for 30 seconds and wait. It's a really long time. You're such a better pitcher. The way you get into a groove, you're in a groove, everybody else is in a groove, working quick. And I'm glad aren't you glad, as someone that means a lot to your game, that we're now actually going to look at it and talk about it?
Yeah, I think it's something that definitely needs to be talked about. That there's one thing about having a routine, and then there's another thing about working at a pace that actually gets you going and gets you get comfortable and you get into a rhythm, and the game works actually faster in your favor. And you saw it the other day. Verlander works, at a regular rate and works pretty quick. And he was throwing well. He got into a groove, and then I was working quick as well. I had a runner on first most of the time, but even then, with no runners on, still working quick, and we got through that ball game 2.5 hours or something like that. And so it just goes to show that if you are working quick and working at a good tempo, the games are going to speed up. They will. They just happen naturally. But it's on the guys holding the ball first, and I take a look in the mirror at that. So if I'm not working quick, there's got to be something going on or something I'm thinking about, because that's part of my game. That's how I pitch consistently.
When you go up against a lineup like the Astros, where they really are one of the few lineups in baseball that can beat you every single way. They got the power, they got the contact hitters. What's it like preparing for them and getting ready for a ball club and then going out and implementing that plan?
Not just the Astros. The rest of the league. It's Major League Baseball. You got to prepare for teams to be able to put damage numbers on you. And the Astros have a lot of depth and damage. So, it's trying to limit that, trying to make good pitches early. And, there's a lot of, I would say amongst just all teams, you can't take, the bottom part of the lineup for granted, because they can do damage.
Yeah.
And, we're in the major leagues. So, being able to prepare, knowing who can put more damage on you, know who puts a little less, know what guys put in play, what pitches they like or what they're seeing well right now. All that stuff is a factor in terms of game planning. And I like looking at one of the stats that I look at is their last 10 at bats and their last 30 at bats against left-handed pitchers. What are they doing? What are they seeing? And the averages can flip a lineup. Guys in the 3-4 hole could actually be not doing as much damage at that time as the 7-8 guys. So now you got to be a little bit more careful with the guys that are seeing the ball well at the bottom of the lineup. So I mean, there's a constant balance all year about who's hot, who's not, and that's what's fun about this game and pitching. And but yeah, the Astros, I mean, they just got a great lineup up and down, whether or not you believe whatever they did. I mean, that's a different time, and now they're like the rest of us, and they still have the bats to do damage, and you have to be able to manage it in the best way you can, and limiting solid contact, and I think that's what I do well is I pitch to miss barrels, and I don't necessarily pitch to miss bats.
I can tell you where I sit right up here in the press box, and all of a sudden they come and take you out. All of a sudden my papers are flying all over. I'm like, why? Why? Keep him in there. I mean, it drives me nuts. You don't necessarily have to comment on this now that I think about it, but it drives me nuts because there's a problem to me when you're going to use 4, 5, 6 relievers. It takes one guy to have an off night for that whole thing to fail. And I got a guy like you. It's like, this is what bugs me. I don't know if I can ask you this without either of us get in trouble. Does it bug you that around the league that they feel if you give up 1 or 2 runs and it's the third time through the order that, oh God, we got to make changes? Why can't we work through stuff like pitchers used to?
You're preaching to the choir on my end on that. There's a lot of times where I feel like, a good example the other day. I come out of the game 5 2/3, and I'm an out and away from a quality start. In my mind, I love quality starts. I love being able to give the team a chance to win. I want that ball, and I was kind of soft in showing Katse that I wanted to stay in there. I should have tried a little bit harder.
What do you say to him?
I kind of waved him off on the mound, but he didn't see me wave him off. And so maybe next time I just try to tell him when he comes out to the mound, but he already called for an arm. So I didn't really try all that hard. I'll be honest.
Yeah, if he's already
his head was down when I was like doing like one of these, like, no, stay in there. Like, I don't want him to come out. And like,
yeah, you're kind of done.
It was more so like fun on my part. I was like, I wanted it, but I knew he was looking down and he wasn't going to give it to me. So I was like, all right, I mean, I'll take it. So, again, sometimes decisions need to be made, and we're in a 1-run ball game there. Verlander's throwing well. We don't know how that game's going to shape out. I think all in all, that's a good decision. You got to think about situations, and the bottom of their lineup was hitting me a little bit more than the top of the lineup. So, but yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about pitching right now, and I'm noticing is that third time through. A lot of teams aren't letting starters go through that third time through
at all.
And what's interesting on my end, being a pitcher and pitching to contact, I'm going to see that third time through. But you got to prove that you can do it. You got to prove that you can make pitches and pitch guys 3 different times, 3 different ways in a game. And so that to me is pitching, is being able to show guys different things. I think one of the at-bats that stood out the most to me was Alvarez in my last start, is facing him 3 times, solid bat. His second at bat, I threw him too many sliders. And then that last time I broke his barrel, on a fastball in. And so in that first at bat, I was pounding him in too. So, I mean, I kind of got off my game plan in that second at bat, but I went back to it, and it showed up to be a good thing. Got out of that 5th inning and was able to be in there for the 6th. So I think those small things kind of go a long way when you're still learning to pitch at this level, and showing that you can prove to pitch through 3 times through the order and stuff. And so pitching isn't easy. Hitters make those adjustments, and as a pitcher you got to as well, and you got to be ahead of it.
One thing that when you look at starting pitchers, like, you pitch and then the world forgets about you for a few days, right? It's like, now we don't, because we see all the stuff that you do. But just tell the audience how much work, the volume of work you guys will do doesn't have to be all physical. A lot can be mental too, with watching the video and watching things. And as you said, gearing up, looking at the last 10 games or how many games, or just talk about what you do in between starts.
Yeah, I mean, between starts, for me, it's a little bit simpler. Today I do a long run, got a lower body lift, and then tomorrow I got a bullpen. And my last bullpen, I threw it like 65%. I don't think I had a fastball over 70 miles an hour in my bullpen. But what I was trying to do was trying to throw fastballs, on both sides of the plate. I was splitting the plate, nothing in the middle. I didn't throw anything in the middle. It was trying to hit the corners and trying to hit all quadrants of the corners. So, up, middle, and down. And so, bullpens are intentional. Tomorrow I'm probably going to be working on a little bit more slider cutter action, just to tunnel those a little bit better. And that's kind of the in between there. And then we got 2 days up until Atlanta. I will go into the yard on the off day to get some work in, get a little light lift and stuff. So, I mean, we're lifting, we're working out. As a starter, it's four days a week that we're lifting and running, and then we get our start day. And then even after our start day, we're riding the bike for 20-25 minutes after the start. So we work hard. The programs here is kind of tailored to whatever you need, and they learn you as you go. And they help you as much as they can, and it's just a great support staff here, just that helps us every day.
I think about golf, and I think about how that works for like what you guys do. So if you're going to play golf that day and you go out to the range, you're working on what you do well, because that's what you got to play with. On a day where you're not playing, you're just going to the range, you can switch grips. You can do all kinds. I can try and hit a cut. I can hit a fade. I can try and draw it. I can try and do all. So for you, when you talk about your bullpen like tomorrow, will you concentrate more on refining what you do well or trying to fix what you want to make better?
Start to start. It's start to start for me. Because like if I come off a game where I was throwing bad sliders, I want to throw more sliders in the bullpen and just get that feel back of what a good slider feels like at the tips of my fingers. Some guys throw the same routine every time. Everyone's different. And so to me, I kind of tailor it to kind of what I've been doing well, what I haven't been. So I kind of balance it the best way I can. But the other day, sometimes you just need to relax. You kind of need a lighter day. So I just did fastballs only and didn't try to overwork myself through 25 pitches, but still wanted to get something out of it. And it was all about command at the end of my release point and just trying to feel it out front. And so again, like kind of similar to golf, like there's that refining point that we do, but with where we're at, sometimes you got to think about the lineups coming up. Sometimes there's a lot of things that kind of go into a bullpen day, and I definitely think about it. There's some days where I'm going to wear a jersey. There's some days where I'm not. Like depends on the day. It depends on how I've been going, what the rhythm's like. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. And as I say it, I'm definitely in my own head about it for sure.
Now I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I'm going to be up in the press box. Is he wearing a jersey today? What is he doing?
I started talking about it and I went, oh my gosh, I overthink my bullpens way too much. I need to relax a little bit more.
That's what we do here on Ace Cast Live. We get the real of what's going on. How much, whether it's you, because you guys all talk a lot, you guys are a great support system for each other. How much do you guys got to make sure in a game of failure you don't get too down on yourself?
We fail every day. I mean, a ball in our total pitches category is a failure. Sometimes it's a successful failure if we're trying to throw balls. I mean, earlier in the year I was trying to throw a little bit more balls because I was in the zone too much. So there's times where I think a good example is when we get hit around a little bit. I think the starters are really good at coming in and supporting each other about like what we're seeing from the sidelines and what we're seeing from the dugout. Hey, you're rushing a little bit too far down the plate, or hey, I think you should have gone fastball here with that location. And the next time they face that hitter, they execute it. And with Frankie, I know we tell him a lot to throw his splitter, And it's not a knock on him. He gets into the rhythm of the game like all of us. They tell me the same thing on my changeup. We just want to get on it. We want to throw it hard. And again, it's just player to player. It's different guy. Cap tonight, we'll probably tell him something, and we're just honest with each other in the moment because we'd rather know now than know after the game when we could have made the adjustment. And so that's the biggest thing I think from the starters core. That's what we talk about. We're in each other's ear daily about stuff. Even just on catch play sessions, we're watching each other. Are we taking it seriously? Or are we out front? There's a lot of things that we take care of, and we make sure that we don't get lazy.
Yeah, I always thought like Mariano Rivera, like what does he do in bullpens? He just throws the same pitch over and over again.
I don't. It's a good question.
Like, why do they ever even put down sides? Like anyone's like
everyone knows what's coming.
I mean, were they going to trick you one time with a pitch that wasn't a cutter? He threw it every single pitch.
Oh, I think I told Danny the other day. I forget who we were facing, but I think everyone in the ballpark knew he was throwing a curveball. I think it was to Nathaniel Lowe or something like that. And I think everyone knew except for him, except for Lowe, and he struck out on a curveball, and it was just like that's his best pitch. It's like I think there's a lot of guys in the league that know what he's going to throw.
I just but some of these guys, when your stuff's that good, you could be out there and be like, hey, I'm throwing that. Like when Frankie's got his split going, it's like he could tell you, I'm throwing it. What are you going to do about it?
It's aggravating. As a guy that throws 90 miles an hour, it's aggravating watching 98 and then a 90-mile-an-hour splitter. And I'm just like, that's just not fair.
Well, think about it. If like Evaldi has given up 16 home runs, can you imagine if you had a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to go with your stuff?
No, I feel like I'd be in the training room a heck of a lot more. I don't like being in there.
You'd have no hitters if you had a hundo. If you had a hundo.
Yeah, probably, maybe. I had 98 out of the bullpen.
Did you really?
In Philadelphia, yeah.
God, how good was that?
That was the coolest feeling ever. It was in Cleveland, actually. Was when I did it.
Was that a juice gun or was
no? It was. I mean, it was clean. It was clean. It was a clean 98. It was 98.2. So I mean, I got a 0.2 on there.
Where'd it go?
I have to start. I have to save energy.
So
I was surprised that a lot of people don't know this, but I'll just share it. A lot of us starters pitch at like 90-95%.
Of course, because you'd be burnt by the third, fourth inning. Yeah.
Right. Frankie, I think, is almost max effort, except for on a splitter, and we have to tell him that. But I think for the most part, we just try to conserve our energy because we're trying to get deep in that ball game. And a lot of people, when I'm giving lessons in the offseason, ask like, why aren't you trying to like train to throw harder? Well, I was like, because I want them to throw accurately first. I said, when your body develops and gets stronger, that's when the velo comes. And velo is just such an interesting thing to me. There's so many different ways to kind of teach it with drive line and all that.
Well, I'll tell you this, every broadcast, I got to do a farm report. So I'm always looking at our minor league teams. Oh, we're training them to throw all out in starts because they're only going 3 innings.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing is like, now you're not teaching how to like manage a lineup going, 2-3 times through or in order. And like, I think for me, the minor league schedule being only 6 games and having 6 starters kind of hurts learning how to pitch to a team twice in the same week. I'm not sure what we do on the minor league side, but I mean, at least when I was in AAA, AA, like being on that 5-man rotation, man, and we faced the same team in a week, knowing that I had them twice, I had to learn a lot about how to throw a team 6 different ways and do it 3 times in a night. And that to me is what makes pitching so fun, is like there's so many different ways right now that you can go about coaching. The baseball is a really fun time right now where you can teach velo or you can teach command. You can kind of do it all right now, and both are going to work and get you to the pinnacle of the game. But all in all, like back to my original statement, is like 90-95% effort out of starters, and then we have that in our bag to be able to throw 95, 96. And I've showed it in a few starts this year where I've gotten up to 95, and that's when I'm trying to empty the tank.
Well, you're not going to have to worry. By the time you retire, starters will only go twice a month. They'll get We're going to have 7-8 man staffs. What do you think about 12 starts a year will be good?
Golly,
12
I don't
starts
know.
with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Chasing records of the 12 start a year record.
Oh man. There are some areas I hope baseball doesn't go down.
20-man bullpens.
Yeah, the pitch clock is one thing that I hope that we don't get too happy with, because I feel like a routine is good in an at bat. A routine is good when you're on the mound. Foul balls happen. That's when you take your time to reset. And if you got to be on the mound to be ready to throw a pitch, to me, that like I was watching when I was in Stockton, watching that pitch clock. Man, it's just so fast. It's so fast that you actually can't think and you just react. And I feel like learning the game is very hard to do when you're trying to go hyper speed in baseball. And so, but again, it's cutting down time in games. So
by a lot.
It is. And the numbers are crazy, but there's still a level of understanding and learning the game that I feel like needs to be had at those levels. And if you're running through a game as fast as it can, what are you learning from the game? How are you breaking that down? How is it affecting a growth of a player, especially young players at that level? So it's interesting. I have a lot of thoughts on that. We could probably talk about that at a different time.
We got all the time in the world. No, they're going to wrap me up here. Quickly, you know what? You guys have been better on the road than at home. It's bottom line. You're going to finish this series, go back on the road. Is that something that in the back of your guys' mind that you understand, that sometimes, hey, let's get on the plane, let's go. It's better for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say this year because we're in here every day grinding and really trying to win games at home. But I think our bats, in opposing ballparks kind of show up a little bit more. And that's just plain and simple. I think pitching's going to stay the same. It doesn't matter where we go. Pitching's going to stay the same. I think just offensively, a few the balls that we hit here go out in other ballparks, and maybe I think that's all it is. And so, it could be kind of a thing to think about, but at the end of the day, we're trying to win at home just as much as we're trying to win on the road. So I don't really have an answer. I think we're always ready to play. We don't care who's in the other uniform, and we want to win ball games, and we don't like losing. I'll tell you that. That's the loss the other day. It just hurt a little bit, and I'm glad we had the off day to kind of reflect and kind of reset. And there's a lot of good energy today in the locker room. So hopefully we can carry this into a series win against a good Red Sox team.
All right, so let's just end with this. As long as pitch tempo, you're top 15.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah,
okay.
top 15. Try to get top 10, but I know that with holding runners at first as a left-handed pitcher, it's going to –
If you were right-handed, where would you be?
I'm pretty sure I'd be at the top. I'd be curious to see who the righties and lefties, like if there is a discrepancy between.
You think my crack staff would be able to come up with this information?
Yeah, especially
how many lefties are in the top 10? Are we sliding him? Is that not? I didn't even think about that.
No, remember, I set this at minimum 250 pitches because they have Wade Miley in there who hasn't thrown that many pitches yet this year. He said like 11 seconds with nobody on base, but he's only pitched in certain. So I set it to 250.
But what if Cole is your 12th, but all 11 guys are right-handers in front of you?
Right.
Then that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That's called that's analytics that are crap.
Hold on, I'm pulling up.
Then they technically then they should have a righty versus lefty.
Could. Yeah, you could.
A left column, righty column.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
All right, minimum 250 pitches. Shane Bieber, righty. Aaron Ashby, he's from the Brewers. I think he's a lefty. Steven Matz, lefty. Alex Wood, lefty.
Okay.
Logan Webb,
wow,
righty.
a lot of lefties up there.
Mike,
I need to speed things up.
The next lefty after would be Nasty Nestor. Drew Smiley, David Peterson, also lefty.
Gosh.
Then you, and then Sean Manaea.
Wait, David Peterson, then me?
Yes.
Yeah, go Ducks.
Oh.
And then Manaea is after you. So you're ahead of Sean.
Yeah. Sean, totally. Beat you. Got him. Got him in one category.
It's not too long from now that we will not talk baseball and we will talk Pac-12 football.
Hey, we're
not that far. We're in summertime. Before you know it, we're going to hit August, and it's going to be let's get her going.
Yeah, college baseball right now going on. I think the Ducks are on right now, so I got to go in and start watching.
Thank you very much. Awesome stuff.
Always fun having me on. So it was a great time. Thank you for having me.